morning, everyone here, and good evening, everyone listening in from Uganda and around the world, in whatever time zone you are in. I want to recognize the embassy staff. I want to recognize everyone who has come here to make this occasion as successful as it is. And I just want to introduce myself as the managing partner of Migrate to Canada group, as I was introduced. We deal with bringing people to Canada, and my job is to just speak briefly about why people need to move to Canada and what the benefits might be if you move to a country like Canada. So firstly, I just want to explain that we live in a very globalized economy these days, and movement around the world is very, very encouraged, especially in the first world countries. I moved from Britain to come to Canada, which is a very big credit to Canada, because Canada is now becoming the most attractive country to migrate to, actually surpassing America and Britain as we speak at the moment. And I just want to highlight why this is the case. And first and foremost of all, it has the most lenient immigration policy in the world. It is the second largest country in the world, but it actually is 40 times plus, or 40% bigger than Uganda, yet it has round about the same population. And it also has around 1% population growth, which means that it's growing at a very slow pace, with mainly an adult population as opposed to youth. So it has a lot of need for, be it foreign workers, for migrants from our countries nearby. And the immigration policy has been designed to ensure that it doesn't only get skilled workers, but also unskilled workers, which then opens the door to almost everyone around the world to come around. It's one of 3 countries in the world that can give you permanent residence as soon as you land. And the other 2 countries are Australia and New Zealand. But the nature of Canada's inclusiveness and openness with their settlement programs has meant that around 75% of the people apply to Canada for these permanent resident programs, which I encourage young Ugandans actually to apply for, because they are very easy programs. And very often, if you're 25 to 35 years old and you have a master's and you speak probably good English or French, you can easily come to Canada as a permanent resident. So I urge everyone involved in Uganda to try to encourage these programs and to allow these youth to come and then pick up a few lips from Uganda that they can bring here, but also work here and then go back to Uganda and obviously help develop the country. As I said, the economy is very good for those who want to come and work. The annual income of Canadians is around $40,000, which is, I think, very generous compared to most economies in the world. And it has the lowest unemployment rate in the world, actually. Most provinces in Canada have below 6% unemployment. And for those provinces that have slightly above 6%, they are allowing in foreign workers to come and fill those gaps. So the issue of unemployment is almost inexistent in Canada. It's mainly for people who are disabled or people who are possibly elderly and are close to retirement. Canada has a very robust health system. Health is a fundamental human right for everyone in Canada. And it's also a free service. So we find that many people come to Canada for health services, but also to plan for their retirement. As we get older, 55 plus, we all get what they call degenerative diseases, which we can't avoid. And when you come to countries like Canada that have a robust health system, then you can manage these diseases by doing 2 things. One, preventing them, and then if they're inevitably here, then you manage them and have a good quality of life for the rest of your life. There's a reason why the life expectancy in most third world countries is between 55 and 60 years. And a country like Canada has a life expectancy of 78 years. There's a lot of management of degenerative diseases, and Canada really is one of the top countries in managing that. Also, their education system is the highest in the world. They have the highest proportion of college graduates in the world, but they don't stop at that. Where you find that now most countries Ugandans used to migrate to, which is Britain and America, people who go to study there, once they finish studying, they are only allowed to work in these countries for possibly 1 year, slightly more if there is a bit of higher studies, and then they have to leave the country. Now, if your children are investing in this education, in these systems, and learning their way of life, and they have to go back home, that becomes a disservice. And you find that when students come to Canada, there is a pathway to permanent residence, because after they finish studying, then they allow them to work, then they apply for permanent residence, and consequently, they apply for citizenship. So most parents are finding that educating their children in Canada is actually a better benefit than any other country in the world, because it pays, it allows them to stay, it allows them to integrate, and it allows them to settle in the country. We have a very, very good culture here. The MC said, we have to recognize the natives who are the poor living in this land before we came, and they're around 5%. So pretty much almost 95% of Canada is migrants. So you don't find a lot of racism, you don't find a lot of people not feeling comfortable here. When someone asks you where you come from, actually it's a conversation starter, as opposed to you thinking twice about it. It's a very inclusive society. The human rights records speak for themselves. They welcome, I think, the biggest number of refugees around the world, and whenever there's a crisis, Canada is the first to come up. So, my dear listeners and poor here, I just urge you to encourage people to come to Canada and obviously to settle into this country. Like I said before, the credit I can give Canada is I willingly moved from Britain and came here because I thought I was getting better value overall in my lifestyle, in where my taxes are going. But I also want to urge the government of Uganda, if the members here are listening, to also work with the Law Society of Uganda. I think Fiona is the president of the Law Society of Uganda, and try to ensure that immigration services are licensed. Provision of immigration services is a legal service. And in almost every other country in the world, no one can provide immigration services if they're not licensed, either by a law society or by a consultancy organization. And unfortunately, we get a lot of refusals in Uganda, over 65%. And I think everyone here has a story about someone they didn't think they would refuse to give a visa, but they're being refused a visa because they were getting advice from someone on the street, from someone who came here, from a friend. There is a need for Ugandans to increase the visa allowances and for them to come in big numbers and enjoy these benefits I've talked about. So we need to really urge that everyone who provides immigration services is licensed, and I think the government can work with the Law Society to make this happen. I thank you very much for your time. I'm hoping that that snippet was good enough to advise you on why you need to come to Canada, and for those who are here, why you need to stay. Thank you very much for your time.